Welcome to the regular meeting of the Planning Commission on Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. This meeting is called to order. I'll request staff to call roll for those who are present and not.
Thank you, Acting Chair Saudi. Commissioner Haveman.
Here.
Commissioner Mercado.
Here.
Commissioner Samudzi.
Here.
Commissioner Schock is absent today. Acting Chair Saudi.
Here.
And Chair Previtali is absent.
Great. Now we'll move on to the order of the agenda. Are there any changes to the order of the agenda? Next, we'll move to the meeting procedures. I'd like to ask staff to address how the public comment will work this evening. Please note, I think we'll keep it at 3 minutes, correct? Yeah.
Correct, yes. Thank you, Acting Chair Saudi. This meeting tonight is it being recorded to YouTube? Is not being recorded to YouTube due to technical difficulties. But members of the public may comment by phone by dialing 669-444-9171 using the meeting ID 850-9475-9457# and pressing *9 to raise your hand for comment. Or you can comment and watch directly through Zoom using the link on the agenda and use the raise the hand feature through Zoom. If you are, let's just displayed on the, we are offering closed captioning for this evening's meeting on Zoom. Select the live transcript button on the Zoom to enable this feature. And in response to Assembly Bill 361, the City of San Rafael is offering teleconference without complying with the procedural requirements of Government Code Section 54953B3. This meeting is being recorded and being held in person virtually using Zoom. Thank you.
Let me now describe the meeting procedures. We'll begin with the staff report. Members of the public will then be invited to speak. You'll have 3 minutes for public comment. Commissioners will have an opportunity to ask staff questions. I'm going to rephrase this. Commissioners will have the opportunity to ask questions of staff, applicant, or public after each segment. We'll then close the public hearing and bring the matter back to the commission for discussion and action if necessary. Urgent communication. Anyone with urgent communication on a topic not on the agenda may address the commission at this time.
So there's no attendance virtually. So is there anyone in the chambers who wishes to speak on an item not on the agenda? No one wishes to speak.
Okay, great. We'll move on to the consent calendar, which has 2 items. The first of which is the approval of the Planning Commission meeting minutes of November 29th, 2022.
And we'll do the consent calendar as it's joint. So if you can list the second item.
Great. The second item is 905 Irwin Street, Certificate of Appropriateness.
Great. And as we have not had a certificate of appropriateness before the Planning Commission in approximately 2 decades, I brought Renee Nickening, the project planner, and she is also our in-house architectural historian, to give a brief overview of what one is and why it is on the consent calendar here tonight. Thank you.
Is it on? Not on? Is it on? Okay. Hello, commissioners. I've presented various projects to you before, and you may or may not know that I'm also a qualified architectural historian. Came up a little bit during the precise plan proceedings, but in this case, we have a certificate of appropriateness in front of us. The reason it has not come to the commission in decades is because it only applies to landmark properties and landmark historic districts. and only to projects that are visible from the public street. So in this case, we have an application for a new window at 905 Irwin Street, which is part of the French Quarter Historic District. The window is visible from the street, and the applicant is proposing to remove the window, enlarge the opening slightly, bringing it down to make it ADA compliant for a pickup window for a new boba tea shop. So the evaluation for the certificate of appropriateness is determined if there will be a negative impact on the building and or the historic district. In this case, the project complies with the Secretary of the Interior standards. There's not going to be a significant impact to the building or to the historic district, especially given the changes that have happened to the building and the district over time and the lack of integrity that remains. So the project complies with the Secretary of the Interior standards, and the certificate of appropriateness will be issued. So if you have any questions or concerns regarding that, I'm happy to answer.
Doesn't sound like anyone has questions. Thank you so much, Renee.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
super helpful.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Are there any comments from the public on the consent calendar?
Anyone in the chambers wishes to speak on the items of the consent calendar, either the minutes from November 29th or the certificate of appropriateness? No.
Great. Well then, if there are no commission comments or edits, I'd like to entertain a motion. Is anyone, would anyone like to provide a motion?
Yeah, motion to approve the minutes and the additional consent calendar item.
This is Commissioner Haveman. I will second the motion.
Oops, great. And I'll do a roll call vote with the motion by Commissioner Samudzi to approve the consent calendar with the second by Commissioner Haveman. So Commissioner Haveman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Samudzi,
Yes.
and Acting Chair Saudi.
Yes.
Consent calendar passes.
Great. We'll now move on to the action item for this evening, which is the annual Planning Commission meeting of 2023. Leslie, would you like to start? And go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'll go
for
over.
it. Yeah.
So for those of you who remember, every year we have an annual meeting, and it is the time to elect a new chair, vice chair, to review the rules and procedures, as well as to review the planning commission dates of the upcoming year, as well as provide any other pertinent information. So this year, I wanted to start. You can find the proposed, or I should say the scheduled planning commission dates on page 1 of the calendar. And in general, the planning commission falls on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, unless the month starts on a Tuesday. And then it is the third and the fifth Tuesday of the month. Unless the preceding Monday is a holiday. Oh, no, that doesn't, never mind. It's still on the Tuesday. So the scheduled meeting dates are on the first page of your staff report. So no action is needed. Next is election of officers. And according to the rules of procedures, the way the both the chair and the vice chair are elected is rotational based on tenure and not have acted as such within the past 7 years. So according to the schedule, acting chair Saudi is scheduled to serve as chair for the upcoming year, and staff recommends that she is so elected. And similarly, based on the rotational schedule, it is Commissioner Haveman who is up for vice chair. So staff recommends that Commissioner Haveman is elected vice chair. So that is staff's recommendation. And with that, for formality, we are asking for a motion and a second. And if there's any discussion or other revisions that you wish to entertain, please do that, but to have an actual vote on this.
Great. Does anyone have any questions? I have a question about the calendar. I noticed that our February meeting is February 14th. Are we going to have that meeting?
You are jumping ahead.
Oh, sorry. I thought this was all. one
Yeah, no,
agenda
it's
item.
fine. No, it really is.
Yeah.
That was part of there is going to be a meeting in the second meeting in February, not on the 14th.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted clarity on that.
Yeah.
So this is solely about the chair and vice chair then for next year.
Correct.
Do we take comments from the public then?
We could, but there's no public here, either
Okay.
virtually or in person. So
Okay.
I'll go ahead and make a motion and accept staff recommendations for chair and vice chair nominations.
great.
Commissioner
Commissioner,
Haveman, I will second the motion.
great. So we have Commissioner Smoothie with the motion to elect Commissioner Saudi as the chair, and a second by, I'm dividing this up horribly, by Commissioner Haveman to also include to include himself as the vice chair. Really messed that up. But I'm going to take a roll call vote. Commissioner Haveman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yep.
Commissioner Samudzi,
Yes.
and acting vice chair.
Yes.
Awesome. So your official chairdom begins at our next scheduled meeting.
Great.
Next are consideration of rules and procedures. And as one of your attachments was a strike through with recommended additions and deletions to the current rules and procedures. The recommended changes reflect a change in membership to include one representative from each district, as was approved by City Council in summer. The second is to replace virtual language to virtual meetings to hybrid meetings. The third references the sunsetting of AB 361, which allowed virtual participation and now will require commissioners to attend in person or be absent unless they receive a just cause exemption. And though you can't really tell in this, and I sent an email to all of you, but although you can't tell, this is actually a live link. So if you were to see this virtually, you could click on that to get more information or follow up with me or the city clerk. And the fourth is the elimination of the Pledge of Allegiance, as well as the requirement of speakers to identify themselves and their place of residence to be consistent with City Council meetings and goals to strengthen inclusion and belonging. And please let me know if you have any questions about these changes or if you have any further recommended additions for your deliberation.
I have a question about identification of public comment. So do they still have to provide their name, or it doesn't require a name at all? It just
Officially, it
does
doesn't.
not.
Yeah.
Okay. And are we still allowed to ask the public and when they come up to comment to identify themselves? Or is that,
We can ask to recommend that they identify themselves.
Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
yeah, we can like state that it's not required. I guess.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, great.
Any further questions? Any other suggested revisions? No.
Okay, well, I think we can go ahead and if somebody would like to offer a motion to go ahead and approve the consideration of Planning Commission rules and procedure updates.
So moved.
Commissioner Haveman, so seconded.
Wait, who moved it? Okay, sorry. Got that wrong. All right, motion by Commissioner Smidzi, seconded by Commissioner Haveman. So I'll take roll call. Commissioner Haveman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Smidzi,
Yes.
and I'm just going to call you Chair Saudi.
Yes.
All right, excellent. Moving right along. Next is again, the selection of commissioners for DRB liaison meetings. On page, I hope you have this in front of you, on page 3 of the staff report, there are the meeting dates. And last year, because we had a vacancy, I thought it would be easier to just do half the year and then come back and do the other half, but we do have a vacancy. We also have 2 absences. So you know what, you guys get first choice. And there's 3 people who'll fight for the others. So what we do is we request everyone to take 2 months. Whoever gets January, yay, that claim it quickly. There were no meetings. The chair is exempt from participation. And just as a reminder, when you are the DRB liaison, you do not need to attend in person. You're free to be literally an attendee and be at home and not have your screen on, or you're welcome to come in person. So with that, I don't know if anyone has months that they want to take, and just popcorn style, tell me.
Yeah, I'll take January.
Man, that's cold-blooded.
I'll take February as well.
Okay,
I'll take March and April.
that was him. Okay. Thank you.
I can do May. This is Commissioner Mercado, May and September.
Thank you. And thank you also for front loading it to cover the meetings. DRB has not been too active, so you may not have to go to any, or very, very low possibility that there will be 4 meetings. So thank you. And the only other thing I wanted to bring up is I included this year as an attachment, a brief a summary of Robert's Rules of Order Parliamentary Procedures. Just so in case you want to have a better idea, like all meetings, public meetings pretty much go by Robert's rules. They're really interesting and intense, but this is just a summary for your all use. And if you're interested, you can buy the whole book. And yeah, so that's it. So if there's no further questions, we can move on.
Yeah, let's hear the director's report.
Great, I wrote it down. So, okay, we already had this spoiler, but there is no meeting on February 7th, but we will have a meeting on February 22nd. And there may be a few items, and probably most likely the general plan. Pardon
Are
me?
those dates don't correspond with the calendar you provided?
Wouldn't that be? I think you're right. There is no meeting February 14th, and there will be a meeting on February 28th. Thank you. I was testing you. So there will be the housing element in the general plan annual reports, and we may have another item. So, and just an update that we are still recruiting for District 1 representatives for Planning Commission. So we do have, I just asked for an update myself from the city clerk. We do have 3 candidates, and they're hoping to get 6 candidates to kind of get a robust pool. Yeah. So again, if you know anyone who would be interested, please ask them to apply. And then the only other item I wanted to bring up is that we have hired, and he has started an assistant director, CDD director. His name is Chris Hess, and he is the lead and in charge of housing and homelessness for the city. So we're super excited to have him on board. So hopefully you will meet him. He'll be able to come and present or introduce himself sometime soon. So exciting news. And that concludes that.
Sorry, I have to have a cough drop. No. Do any planning commissioners have any communication?
I don't have communication, but I do have a quick question about the housing element.
Yes, sir.
Do you know its status and the implications of that status?
I do know the status, which was that we have submitted it to HCD for review. for compliance, and I might not have this terminology right. We are expecting to get it back and most likely have revisions. We are expecting to have the final to you in May, the second meeting in May. I think that is when we have it scheduled, with it going to council subsequently. So if you're referring to the builder's remedy, it will probably apply.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question about, shoot, it just escaped me. Oh, Northgate. Are we still expecting the draft EIR in Q1 of this year?
That's a very good question. And I'm not sure about that answer. It'd either be end of or beginning of Q2 is my understanding, but don't
Okay.
quote me on that.
Got it.
Mhm.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission?
Besides
Right.
Northgate, I'm just wondering what other major projects do you see on the horizon, Leslie?
We have a few projects in the downtown, and some of them are wavering between going through a notice of intent, which requires tribal notification for SB 35 and going the preliminary route. One of them is, I think, moving forward with the SB 35 process, which is on Grand and 4th. The other, and I apologize, I don't have it's the bank on 5th Avenue, I believe it is. It's Monahan. They're also moving forward with a multifamily project. Maybe that one's on 4th and the other one's on 5th. The bank's on 4th. The other is another project that's 703 3rd Street. It received a previous entitlement a few years ago. They have started going down the SB 35 tribal pre-consultation to do a revised application, and they may be coming back. They're still deliberating how they want to move forward with the project, but they still want to move forward. So those are the ones that are in the works right now, but are slowly making their way. But of course, SB 35 are ministerial review. So if it gets approval from the tribe to go ahead with SB 35, they will submit directly for building permits, and they do not go through public hearing. Yep.
Great. If there's no other comments or questions by the commission, I think we can adjourn the meeting. Does anyone have anything else? Leslie, do you have anything else?
No, just thank you for getting through those technical difficulties and showing
Yeah.
up today.
Thank you, everybody, for making this meeting short and sweet.
Yeah.
We can all go home.
I want to also congratulate our new chair and our new vice chair.
Yeah, thank you.
Yay!
I think with that, the meeting is adjourned.
Perfect. Thank you.
7:35.